You guys seem to really love the relegation lover content we did last week on the Premier League teams that went down, and I've actually managed to indulge myself a little bit in the Premier League relegation aftermath. As you guys will know, I won Wilfie Nonto here at the back end of the European season, who was an unknown to me, and I was just kind of like, oh, I'm not too sure about this guy. But one of the players we featured last week in that same Leeds United team, Marc Roca, is all but set to sign for Betis on a loan with an option to buy, and honestly, this just sent steam out my ears right away with excitement. I was like, I've got to try and get this guy in, because Roca, for me, is a real sleeper player because he's never had any SO5 metrics that really pop off. But I know from watching La Liga before he moved to Bayern that this guy at Espanyol ripped it up in La Liga at a very, very poor team. And I also know that Julian Nagelsmann was so complimentary of him when he was leaving Bayern, saying that he really could have been playing a lot more had it not been for the existence of Joshua Kimmich. So I believe his years at Bayern, I believe even his experience in the Premier League has definitely made him a better player. So him going into a Betis team that finished at the top end of La Liga last year, with a very good defensive record, go straight into the Europa League group stages, and he will be replacing the outgoing William Carvalho, who cannot pass forward to save himself, whereas Marc Roca can. So I think I could be seeing a huge card in La Liga next season, which is a division where I've got a lot of cards in, thanks to Marc Roca. The reason I used the Nonto there as a little preface to this is, of course, now I'm right in the relegation lover territory. I'm on my way to 2% on the super rare collection bonus for this Leeds United team, thanks to the Marc Roca, but thanks to the one of first owner Wilfie Nonto that I've got here. So I might be looking at another Leeds United player. But looking at Roca and looking at La Liga, I'm getting that relegation lover feeling again. There's some teams been relegated from La Liga, and they've got a very interesting roster, all three of them, in a lot of different ways. At any point in the video, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the beginning of the new European season, and we cannot do that without your support. So please, if you do enjoy the content, please subscribe. It's absolutely free, helps me a lot. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it. Almost everyone's favourite childhood legend, who's like kind of in their adult years at the moment, is Ronaldo Nazario. Now, you should probably know the Ronaldo, or as he's known where I'm from, the Donner. If you're watching, you know that was for you. The Donner Kebab. Nowadays, he owns a football team. He owns a football team in Madrid. Who is that? It's Real Valladolid. Now, they got relegated this year, and there's a few very interesting things going on. Now, in goals, Jordi Masip was like taking the armband for this team. He was like a captain on the pitch, and it feels like he will be, for me, the #1 goalkeeper again next year. Asensio, but former Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid goalkeeper. He's been around a little bit at the age of 33, a bit of a veteran, but between both of them, really at rare level and at limited level, very viable handcuff situation here, good veterans. And as we know with La Liga 2, the stronger teams have got very good goalkeeper scores because it's a very attritional division, much like La Liga 1 or the main La Liga, where you don't get many weapons, there's not many 3-3s and that kind of thing. So two very experienced, very prominent keepers. And the reason I mention Ronaldo Nazario is Valladolid really did not see this relegation coming. They're putting a lot of time, effort and resources into upgrading that team on and off the pitch. And this is a speed bump they could have done without. One of the headline defenders, but for Valladolid this year, was Ivan Fresneda. Ivan Fresneda really broke onto the scene for Real Valladolid this year because of Ronaldo Nazario owning the club. They get an extra little bit of media attention, and Ivan Fresneda broke into the team his rookie season in La Liga, and he really stole the headlines. So much so, he's been linked to the good and the great of European football, and it looks like he is on his way now to Borussia Dortmund. And we've seen this in the past with up-and-coming teams that are trying to forge an academy, getting that first academy prospect into the first team, and then with a stellar move to one of the elite development teams in world football can have a lovely domino effect. So definitely a youth structure we want to be paying attention to. Fresneda, for the relegation lover thing, maybe him going to Dortmund is something you're interested in having a rookie card of, if he wants to go on and have a really prominent career. But beyond that, for Valladolid, he's probably not going to serve you too much here. Valladolid were halfway decent. They weren't that great. I'm not too sure about the rest of the defence, what to think of, but the veterans in this team, the guys that are nailed on starters that we've seen, like El Yamik, Olaza, even Izquierdo here, who's got a bit of pedigree, Any of them that stay and hang on with Valladolid could be very powerful, very prominent top-end LaLiga 2 defenders. In the midfield, there's definitely some moving pieces here. Martin Hongla, I've got a good feeling, by the way, he could be very good there next year. Not quite good enough for the champion Euro teams, but very strong and a good passer of the ball. Same with other guys in this team that we're probably familiar with, like Roque Mesa and even Kennedy here. There's some guys in this team that have been well selected, but I think maybe Kennedy, he's probably a wee bit too high profile to go to La Liga 2, and he might be looking to get himself into Challenger Europe. And up front, it is really hard to see them keeping a hold of Plata and Larin, but they've not been at the club that long, and Ronaldo is building a project there, so especially in Larin, I could see them being convinced to stay for one season, and hey, if they went down for one season, won the league, bounced right back up, and then had a bit of a project on the go, that could be very appealing for some of these guys to be the main forward in that situation. And you only really need to look at the success that Toulouse had in a similar kind of vibe over the last couple of seasons to see how it could really pay off for a team. So even if these guys were to leave, I don't think they did great enough to really remain in Champion Euros. So even Oscar Plano, Sergio Leone, they're probably better Segunda shouts for this team. Same with Maquis. Darwin Maquis, by the way, he could score some belters. He could be a great shout for the Segunda Division next year. The next team we had relegated was Real Club Deportivo Espanyol of Barcelona. Barcelona's derby, as it were. And the goalkeeper position here was a real pain in the bum. They had so many goalkeepers in and out. Really got no idea what they're going to do next year. It will look like Pacheco, but I wouldn't be holding my breath until you start digging into them a wee bit deeper. But the thing about this team is it's very firmly a La Liga team, so anyone that does remain, I would put Espanyol as probably the favourite to get promoted straight away out of the relegated bunch. But that will come down to the talent that they can hold on to. The guys like Cabrera, Sergio Gomez, even Aliash Vidal. We've seen some guys like Nolito, and some of these guys have went down to Segunda. It's not been the end of the world, but they have been quite solid defensively. They just couldn't really get the goals once they sold Raul de Tomas. In midfield, they are going to lose a lot. Griguera's only just come in. Melamed will probably be sold because he's so high prospect. But Denis Suarez and Vinny Souza were only on loan. I could see this being a really big year for Griguera, who just moved out of the Segunda Division with Sporting Gijon to Espanyol in the January window. And the Spain under-21 international is going back. He's going back with an Espanyol team that should bounce back at the first time of asking. Sergi Dardar, it's hard to know what will happen with him because he was very, very good, and you could see a La Liga team going and picking him up. Joselu, of course, has already moved on to Real Madrid. Martin Braithwaite makes so much money. I can't believe he'll be staying there. So up front, it is really anyone's game. Yavi Puado here is probably a great shout, having played a lot of the games without being a high-profile guy. And if Joselu is going to move on, this guy's even been playing on the wing and stuff. He's not really been playing up front. I think he maybe did a bit in Joselu's absence here and there. So he's probably a really good shout to be the number one striker there next year. But either way, I think if you can establish what the Espanyol team will be for next year, I think you're on for a great favourite to bounce back at the first time of asking. Now, not this season, but last season, I went and I enjoyed 2 La Liga games in IRL in person. Me, Nellis, Hendo, Alex, my cousin, his pal, and I think that was it. We went to the Mestalla to see Valencia versus Granada. Great game. Carlos Soler, Maxi Gomez, it was all happening. And then we went to see Memphis Depay and Ferran Torres for Barcelona, but they were playing not in Barcelona, but at Elche. And guys, I've got to admit, I fell in love with them a little bit. Really sad, really, really sad to see them get relegated, but I would put them right along Espanyol as a really solid shout to bounce back. Now, Elche have got a little bit of something going on here. They've got really close links with some sort of Argentinian scout agency, network, or whatever, club owner. Not really too sure on the particulars of it, but it will be very interesting to watch Elche, because if they can keep a hold of Alex Werner, who's a bit of a joke goalkeeper, to be honest with you, right? But he has got a cap or two for Argentina. He is a keeper, But between him and Badia, they were both decent keepers enough, by the way. They were just quite unlucky, Elche. They just weren't good enough, ultimately, to be quite honest with you. But I think Axel Werner and Badia, you've got a really lovely handcuff situation there for Segunda. And the defence, honestly, Lautaro Blanco only just came in for the Argentinian Super League in January. Bit of a set piece taker, and could probably use this next season to properly acclimatise, stake his name in the team, and bounce back. Other guys as well, like Lisandro Magalan, Palacios, Jose Angel Carmona come on loan from Sevilla, and you guys will remember I was a big fan of him at Sevilla. Paul Larola as well, I think that was a loan move. Probably won't be remaining there next year. But the guys that have got on permanent, again, I don't see any of them being poor scorers in this Elche team, because Elche at home are very, very, very formidable. And particularly in midfield, a lot of the guys that they've got here I really like the ones that I've seen. Raul Guti, who's now 26, I think he will be a main midfielder for him. And this guy's big and strong and could be a really good scorer in the Segunda Division. Alex Collado was on loan from Barcelona. He'll be going back. But again, none of these midfielders are super young. A lot of them are like, you know, Mascarella here at 30, Gambu 28, Josan Fernandez 33. Experienced guys that if they're going to stay with them when they go down, they might have enough talent with the guys on top of Pape Sheik, who I think, or Pape Cech, I don't think he's a long signing in there as well. They may have enough to bounce back. But up front, I do think their talent is too good for the Segunda Division. Lucas Boy is, honestly, like this guy, when he goes to Challenger Europe, or if he goes back to Argentina, he will be one of the must-buy strikers. He's so big and powerful, and if he's at a dominant team that will get him service, he will be a target man and a half. He's been called into some Argentina teams since he's been in Elche, and he's just never really hit it in Europe, you know. The Segunda, he could be overpowered for that. Pere Mila, very, very good forward as well. Has some really good progressive pressing stats and whatever, so I could see another La Liga team maybe picking him up. And Ezequiel Pons, I'm not a fan of really at all. So, but again, Segunda could be his level and he could do really well, but this is firepower maybe a bit more in this Elche team. Whoever is their main striker, out of Mila, Ponce and Boy, I think they've all got the potential really to be too good for that division, coupled with a decent midfield and a decent defence and potentially really good keepers. I think Elche are a great shout as well. So yeah, feeling like the Premier League relegation lover, there was a lovely kind of duality going on there between Championship utility if they stayed, which is a lovely fixture list to be a part of if they're a main player, or a promising transfer if they're too good, you know, and the teams we looked at in the Premier League obviously scouted elite prospects and have many high-quality suitors throughout Europe. Whereas with the Spanish guys we've looked at just now, the Segunda Division has good SO5 output, good SO5 metrics for defensive players and such. Not quite get the amazing fixture list the Championship does, but it's maybe not quite got the prestige opportunity on the transfers out. You are kind of hoping for the Lucas Boy, the Dardar, the star player in the team goes to a good situation and maybe that situation continues rather than gets better. So there's definitely different things going on here with the guys that have been relegated in La Liga. I cannot wait to check out the comment section of the video to see what your guys' thoughts are on all of this. At any point in the video, if you did laugh, learn, like something, I don't know. And I hope you liked and subscribed to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.